one of the things that when I look at the adjuvants, and this comment may step on a few toes, and I apologize for that, but one of the things that applies to adjuvants as well as applies to other products within the AgroVantage system is we need to be applying the correct amount. We don't need to be applying at high levels, because if we apply at high levels and we put more on, we're not necessarily doing a better job. So we don't want to be in that situation where we're thinking that more is better and we need to put more on. We need to put the correct amount on, use it in the proper way so that we can get that result that we're looking to achieve. Because if we do put more on than is needed, we may burn off the top of the plant down to the ground, but we may not kill the root. And when that root comes back, that's going to lead to resistance. And so we just have some things that we need to look at. So let's make certain that we are applying those correct amounts. And as Isaiah said, when I first look at Conklin's adjuvant line, there's a couple of products that I look to, and that's the Wex and the Rainfast products. And when I really look at Wex, there's a couple of things there. To me, Wex is an excellent pre-emerge, pre-plant, burn-down adjuvant because it's going to help penetrate and get the chemicals into the leaves. It's going to reduce that surface tension so that the water droplets are going to be covering a bigger area, get better opportunity for absorption. And with its soil amendment properties, it's going to help to, there again, get better penetration into the soil of those pre-emerge chemicals. It's going to help develop a bigger root system. But when we really look at the adjuvant side of things, Wex is more of a multi-purpose wetting agent. It's a product that's about 35% active ingredients. It is a compatibility agent. It is a defoamer. It is going to reduce surface tension, and it's going to do all those things in one product for those pre-emerge applications. And typically there, especially when you're doing that burn down, when you're doing that pre-emerge and residual herbicide application, you can use the higher rate that we use for the enhanced root system. So we're looking at 1 to 2 pints per acre, and just works out very well. And we get great performance, great applications, and just even applications of those chemicals. And we hear from so many people that it really does help to keep the tanks clean, because keeping all those components in suspension, we don't have anything hanging on to the side of the tank when we're done with it that we have to rinse out before we go and do another application of some other chemical. For our post-application or post-emerge applications, I really think of Rainfast, which is a 100% active ingredient product that really enables the droplets to spread out more than the traditional non-ionic surfactant products alone, and really designed and intended for those post-emerge applications. So if you look back, depending upon how long you've been involved with Conklin, it's kind of a progression. We started out with Wex, which was our multi-purpose, excellent performing non-ionic surfactant and multi-purpose product. We then developed, as chemicals came out, that wanted a adjuvant that had greater than 80% active ingredients. We then developed the Satchel 85 product. And since that time, we have developed the Rainfast product, which is a 100% active ingredient product. And since we've developed the Rainfast, the Satchel 85 is no longer available because the Rainfast meets that requirement. And back at that time, you would look at those labels, and for some of the glyphosate labels, they may say, if you're using an adjuvant that contains less than 80% active ingredients, you need to use 2 quarts of that adjuvant per 100 gallons. And if you're using a product that contains greater than 80% active ingredients, then it would be 1 quart per 100 gallons. So again, there we need to look at those labels, make certain that we are reading those and following those. And the Rainfast, while it contains enough of a defoamer to defoam itself, it's not going to defoam the chemicals as Isaiah talked about. So in that instance, we would need to use the product that Isaiah talked about, the knockout, to control that. Rainfast also works well if we're foliar feeding. And typically if we're foliar feeding and not applying any herbicide, any pesticide chemicals, for that true foliar feeding, we're looking at 1 to 2 ounces per 100 gallons of spray solution, and 1 ounce if we're doing the low volume spray solution, such as 5 gallons per acre. And again, rates will vary with the different pesticides, so we always need to check those labels. But typically, if we look at glyphosate, you may find one glyphosate product that's preloaded with an adjuvant. You may find another one that's not. So we need to look at those labels. But typically, we're looking at 2 to 12 ounces of Rainfast per 100 gallons of spray solution. But again, look at that chemical label. We don't want to go with our high rate because it's going to perform better, because then we may, as I mentioned, burn not only the weeds, but also the crop and reduce our performance, reduce our yield, and just create more challenge than we are necessarily looking for. And as Isaiah talked about, Bullseye is a great product. It really helps to keep your chemicals on target. You're not going to get those fine little droplet particles that are going to go flying off, that are going to be caught in that breeze and lead to some drift. So it really helps to eliminate those fines in your spray solution, keeping your chemicals going on target. And again, this is a product that we don't want to over-apply, because if we over-apply, instead of getting a nice even spray, we can turn those fan jet nozzles into stream jet nozzles and just get a nice stream going straight down. And that's not going to give us the coverage. That's not going to give us the performance we want. So want to make certain that we are using the Bullseye correctly. And as we're talking about reading labels, we want to read the labels on our adjuvants as well. That's going to tell us, one, how to mix it, how much to use. But again, the chemical label is going to supersede the adjuvant label as far as the application rate. So, but we don't want to not read the adjuvant label. We still need to read that to make certain that we are mixing, that we're using the right amount. And as Isaiah talked about, our concentrated MSO product, our Home Run, is great for use with chemicals that are specifying the use of a methylated seed oil as the adjuvants. And those typically are going to be used in some of those, what I would call more high pressure situations, where maybe due to weather, due to mechanical challenges, due to, like last year where we may have had some delayed planting, it really put a lot of pressure on to get the spraying all done at one time, and maybe we didn't get it done. Maybe the weather is dry and the crops are stressed and we've got dry conditions. And in those situations, typically that's where you're going to be using a product that requires an MSO when the weeds are stressed and in dry weather conditions to get better control. And as Isaiah talked about, Conklin's Complete product is a unique product. I mean, you look at a lot of the dry AMS products that are out on the market today, and yes, they are less expensive than Conklin's products, but they're not going to perform as well, and they're definitely not going to be as easy to use. With this Complete Liquid AMS, it is a product that conditions the water to make certain that we are dealing with the hardness issues in that water, that those hard water issues are not going to reduce the chemical performance of what we're trying to apply. Because you can look at, Isaiah mentioned a couple of products. He mentioned glufosinate or Liberty. Liberty is a product that typically is going to recommend using anywhere from 1.5 to 3 pounds per acre of AMS. Whereas if we look at glyphosate is a product that is going to recommend anywhere from 8.5 to 17 pounds per 100 gallons of spray solution. So again, glyphosate typically is going to recommend 8.5 to 17 pounds of AMS per 100 gallons of spray solution. So we need to make certain that we are following those. And if we look at our Complete product, Complete provides 0.85 pounds of AMS per quart. So if we're looking to apply 3 pounds of AMS with our Liberty, there would be looking at applying 3.5 quarts of our Complete product. And if we look at the glyphosate at 8.5 pounds per 100 gallons of spray solution, we'd have to put in 10 quarts to get to that rate. Now, that's based on the absolute worst water conditions that a person may run into. And some of the worst water conditions that I've seen have been in western North Dakota, eastern Montana. And one of the things that has been developed in combination with Iowa State University as well as North Dakota State University is the information that was used to create the Complete calculator. And the Complete calculator is based on getting a water test or contacting your water source. Say you're on rural water. You want to get a hold of them to find out what are these 4 elements. You want to find out what the potassium level is, the calcium level, the magnesium level, and the sodium level. And again, that's potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sodium. And you can input those numbers into this Complete bullseye calculator, and it will tell you, based on your water conditions, exactly what you need to apply, how much Complete you need to apply per 100 gallons to overcome those water hardness issues that you are facing. And many, many times we're seeing that instead of applying anywhere from 10 to possibly 20 quarts of Complete per 100 gallons of spray solution, in many of the less than ideal water situations, we may have people that are putting on around, 120 to maybe 160 ounces of Complete. And so we're looking at about a gallon to maybe a gallon and a half or 5 quarts of Complete. But in many situations, we're finding that growers are able to use right at about 2 quarts of Complete to overcome those water hardness issues. And you can access that Complete calculator, which is specifically for glyphosate, specifically for Roundup. It doesn't apply to other chemicals. It does not apply to Liberty. It does not apply to the glufosinate products. It is strictly for Roundup and glyphosate. So we just want to make certain that we're aware of that. And that is available on Conklin's website. So go to Conklin.com, log into Conklin Central, and click on the internal links, utilize the documents library, and search for the Complete bullseye calculator. Bring that up. It'll open it up in a spreadsheet. You may need to click on Enable Editing, but then you can input your numbers, and it will share and show you exactly how much Complete that you do need to use. So a great resource. Unfortunately, this opportunity was not really caught on by the AMS market, especially those individuals that are selling the product. We want to make certain, and Conklin wants to make certain, that we're giving our customers the best value for their dollar. And we want to make certain that our customers are getting the best deal. So that's why, yes, could we sell more Complete if we didn't use this calculator? We probably very well could. But we want to make certain that our customers are getting the best value, utilizing the product to its fullest potential, so that they're going to be able to reach their goals better. So that's one of the ideas and the philosophies behind the AgroVantage system that also applies here in all of the adjuvants. We want to make certain that all of our adjuvants are effective in providing the end customer with the greatest